Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to Bible class. Today we're going to hear some more about Joseph when he was in Egypt. Today we hear about what happens when his brothers came to see him. You remember that Joseph was one of the sons of Jacob. Jacob was one of the sons of Isaac, and Isaac was one of the sons of Abraham. Jacob and Israel are the same person. So Israel or Jacob had 12 sons. One of them was Joseph, and Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. And Joseph ended up in Egypt. And we learned about that last time. So today's story is about what happened when Joseph was in Egypt and his brothers came to visit him. So before we find out about what happened, we have a song that tells all the names of the sons of Israel. Starts with the oldest, Reuben, and ends with the youngest, Benjamin. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. These are the sons of Israel. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. These are the sons of Israel. Little faster. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. These are the sons of Israel. One last time, faster. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, Issachar, Zebulun, Joseph, Benjamin. These are the sons of Israel. All right, so now that we know all the sons of Israel, let's listen to Miss Janney tell us the story of what happens when these guys went to Egypt.
Joseph saves his family. Genesis 41, verse 53 through chapter 47, verse 12. There was famine in the land. A famine is a time when no plants grow and people do not have enough food to eat. At that time, there was only one place where there was plenty of food to eat. That place was Egypt. Egypt had enough food because Joseph was in charge. He had correctly interpreted a dream for the Pharaoh, so he knew Egypt had to store grain in the years before the famine had come. Joseph told everyone to save some of the grain when there was extra. Then, when the famine came, Egypt had enough food stored. Joseph was very wealthy and had a family. He was second in command only to Pharaoh. But it had not always been this way for Joseph. Many years before, he was living in Canaan with his father and brothers. His brothers had been so angry with him that they sold him as a slave. His father thought Joseph was dead. Many years later, his father sent his 10 oldest sons to Egypt to buy grain. Only his youngest son, Benjamin, stayed home with Israel. The brothers did not recognize Joseph when they saw him, but he knew who they were. Since the Pharaoh had put Joseph in charge of the grain, his brothers had to ask him for it. He was a very important man, so they all bowed before him to ask for the grain. This brought back many memories for Joseph. Years ago, when he was just a boy, he used to tell them about dreams he was having. In my dream, we were all sheaves of grain. All of you bow down to me. We are older than you, they had replied. We will never bow down to you. That was then, but look at them now. All of his brothers were bowing down to him to ask for grain. Joseph was glad to see his brothers, but he wanted to know if they still hated him like they used to. He wanted to know if they were sorry for what they had done to him. Joseph did not tell them who he was. He told them that he would give them grain if they would bring Benjamin back with them the next time. He said that Simeon would stay with him until they came back. He told them not to come back unless they brought Benjamin. The brothers took their bags of grain and went back home. On the way home, the brothers looked in their bags of grain and were shocked to find not only the grain, but their silver too. They were afraid. That silver is what they had paid the Egyptians for the grain. What if the Egyptians thought they had stolen the silver? They did not know that Joseph had put the money in the bags to test them. As time went by, the grain was all used up, and Israel and his family became hungry again. Israel did not want the brothers to take his youngest son Benjamin to Egypt, but he knew that if Benjamin didn't go, then the official in charge of the grain would not give them any. Benjamin said goodbye to his father and went with his brothers. Joseph was so happy to see his brother Benjamin, but he still did not tell the brothers who he was. They still thought he was just an important Egyptian. They had no idea this was their brother Joseph. The brothers tried to give the money back from last time, but Joseph's servants would not take it. The brothers were very confused. Joseph held a large feast for all of his brothers and gave Benjamin 5 times as much food as everyone else. Joseph and Benjamin had the same mother, so Joseph felt special feelings for him. He wanted to show love to Benjamin, but he was not yet ready to tell his brothers who he really was. He had to make sure they understand that what they had done to him was wrong. This time, when the brothers left to go back home, Joseph tested them again. Joseph secretly told his workers to put all of their payment money into the bags of grain that they were taking home to Israel. He also told them to put his own expensive silver cup in Benjamin's bag. Then Joseph sent his brothers on their way home. Joseph waited a little while, and then he sent his officials after his brothers. When the officials found the money and cup, they brought all of the brothers back to Joseph. Joseph told them that it looked as if Benjamin stole his cup. Benjamin would have to stay and be a slave in Egypt. Joseph's brother, Judah, begged him not to keep Benjamin. It will make my father so sad. First, my father's favorite son, Joseph, was taken away from him. Now he will die if we tell him that his son Benjamin is gone. When he heard about his father and how sorry his brothers were for hurting him, Joseph broke down. He saw that they really loved their father. Joseph said, "Don't you understand? I am Joseph." What a shock. Joseph's brothers were so happy to see their brother again. They were very sorry that they had been so mean to him before. Joseph forgave his brothers. Even though they had been mean to him when he was younger, he would not stay angry with them. He would not hold a grudge. Joseph invited all of his brothers to come to live in Egypt, where there was plenty of food. So the brothers went back to Canaan and told their father Israel the good news. Joseph is still alive. So Israel and all of his family moved to Egypt to be with Joseph. There were 70 people in Israel's family. Even the Pharaoh was happy for Joseph. He met Joseph's father and agreed that he and his family should live in the land of Goshen in Egypt. Joseph forgave his brothers and always took care of his family. Even though there was a famine, Joseph's father and his brothers were all safe in Egypt. If someone did something bad to you, would you keep being mad at them and hold a grudge? Or would you forgive them?
Thank you, Miss Janney. That was a great story. Let's talk to God. Dear God, thank you so much for our families, and please help us to be kind to them and to love them, and please help us to forgive each other. And Lord, thank you for forgiving us when we hurt you, and thank you for Jesus, and thank you for being with us. Thank you for turning bad things into good things. Thank you that we can trust you and that you will protect us and love us always. In your Son's holy name, amen. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.